All right, guys, this is the DeTsquare OET mock revision class. We had a mock class scheduled last week. That was Sunday last week, yeah. And the mock involved listening, reading, and writing only. And we kind of made this mock feasible and available just to mimic the real exam picture. Yeah. And some of you were able to attend to participate in the mock from the beginning till the end. I know it was really very stressful having to sit down for almost 3 hours for the mock, but I think it was worth it anyway. And the results are now out, but we are going to focus mainly on the writing. But before we go to the writing, I want to correct some things, some mistakes that were made in the listening, the reading, before we move over to the writing. Okay, so if we look at the listening, let's start from the listening. Some of you did not perform very well in the listening, and that does not necessarily mean that your listening is bad, so to say, but that is actually the same thing that will reflect in the real exam, because the listening is usually the first part of the mock exam. And because you are just starting it, you are tensed, you are sweating, you are kind of confused. How is this going to be? And because of that, it impacts negatively on your concentration, and that tends to affect your performance. Yeah. Now, AG did, to some extent, tried in the listening part A, although, just as I said, I usually say in my tutorials that for you to score very well, for you to pass either listening or reading, you need to score in listening at least 20 over 24. If you can get 24 over 24 in listening in that part A, the chance, the possibility of you passing that exam will be very, very high. But immediately you get anything less than 20, you will struggle to pass the exam. Because AG, she was able to get just 15 out of the 24, while SG was just only able to get 11 out of the 24. Yeah. Then coming to the other part of the test, your guess is as good as mine. Because if you cannot do very well in that listening part A, that is easier to just hear those words and fit them in. It becomes difficult for you to analyze, because in listening parts B and C, you will be listening, not just hearing the word, you are also trying to analyze what you've heard, the option that you've heard. Is that the right option or the wrong option? So you have more struggles in B and C than you have in part A. So that's why I always advise you practice part A very well, give it more attention to perfect part A very well, and then also practice part B and part C, because it's also possible for you to pass everything in part A and still fail the remaining parts. Yeah. So as I was marking the script, let me see if I can get the... Okay. As I was marking the scripts, okay, I think that was, okay, that's for it in listening. Now, before we progress, AG, what was your challenge in that listening on that very day?
Thank you very much, Dr. Thompson. I think that I actually, I wasn't really concentrating, and at a point I lost focus, and that was what destabilized me.
Yeah. So this usually happens in the exam, and it's good that you participated in the mock exam, because it will kind of give you like a realization, make you understand what can easily happen. Yeah, it kind of make you understand what can easily what can easily happen in the on the exam day. So what you should do, or what I usually advise, you've done this, you've already realized your mistakes. So on the exam day, you can avoid such happening on that day. So your mind will be more settled and you will be more relaxed. Yeah. Okay. What about SG?
Doctor, good evening. I came very late, so it really stabilized me, making me I was confused and lack focus.
Oh, I think I remember now. It's like you
I
entered
came,
almost when the first session was even over. Yeah. The
yes,
section, first part, the part one of um part A. I think so.
yes.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's not try to asking what happens because we all have engagement and things that we are doing. But on the exam day, just try as much as possible to be on the exam venue at least an hour before the exam so that your nerves and everything will be more relaxed. All the checks will be done. If you're just rushing in and the exam is about to start and they are doing check, all those things put you more, gives you more tension. It will make you to be more tensed, and listening requires a lot of focus. So it's okay.
It really affected me both in reading everything.
Yeah, because
Honestly.
the reading too. So let's just go over to the reading. I think in reading, there is really one thing I need to correct what um AG did. That is not now. That is not really very nice. Yeah. AG, in most of her options, she will write an option. Maybe she chose A. By the side, she's not very sure if it is A. She will now go and also choose C. So which one do you want the examiner to mark? Don't make that type of mistake of shading two options at the same time. Yeah? Just a minute, please. It was AJ that actually made that errors, trying to write two options at the same time. That's what you should try to avoid in the exam. Don't shade two options at the same time. If you're not sure that the option that you've shaded is the right one, clean it off. That's why I would recommend you use pencil. Clean it off, and then preferably, if you can even strike it out, because cleaning will waste your time, especially in listening. Yeah, if you can strike it out and then choose the right option. Don't try and try to choose two answers. So those one that you shaded two answers, you wrote one answer, wrote another one by the side. I kind of marked all those things down because I don't know the one you want me to select to be, although out of the two, one is always was correct out of the two, but I cannot say, okay, let me go for the correct one because it might be that is the wrong one that you wanted to choose. So, and I noticed that you really did well in your part A because you scored up to like 17 out of 20. Although that 17 is not still very okay anyway. You should be targeting at least 19 over 20 in that reading. But you're able to get 17 in that part A. But your part B was very poor in the sense that it was just only 2 out of 6 that you scored. And then your part C was just 9. You get. So I think you really need to work more on your reading because just little more mark, if you had gotten 2 more marks, you would have been able to get 350. Yeah. But from your practice, AG, what do you think? From your personal practice?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. What happened is that choosing two options. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is like I will write one at the top. Like I would be like, oh, when I am kind of going through it again, I will cancel it or I will try and rethink. But due to time, I couldn't cancel it out. That's why I submitted like that. Then concerning my reading, I wasn't really, I was actually destabilized with that listening because obviously I know that I will not pass it. It's my performance. So I was not really concentrating in reading it. Like I would just read and just, I'll not really read it the way I'm supposed to and choose the correct answer. So that was what happened.
It will come. Maybe it's running late.
Hello?
Oh, maybe you stood at the wrong side. But still wait, it might still come. The bus
Hello?
cannot miss. It's either you missed it, you were not there when the bus came, or the bus cannot come. You have to search again. Search again. There is nothing I can do from here. Search again and see the next bus coming. Or if not, bus 81. Yeah? Well, hello?
Hello?
Yes, I understand perfectly. But in the exam, what I'm just want to say in the exam, don't try to shade two options. Yeah? Don't try to shade two options. And again, if you're not very sure of any answer and you think is the next one that is the answer, just cancel the one that you think is not and then select the one you think that is the answer. That is just what I want to recommend because that thing really messed your mark up. You get, maybe perhaps you would have even passed that reading, but you were just writing two options. You write big one, write small one on the head. So that is it. Well, just as Sasha, just as G said initially, I think the destabilization even continued with her own reading, and the performance was really not very good, both in part A and otherwise. It's okay. So, but I noticed that in her listening, part B, she really did well there. She got almost 6/6. No, she got 5/6 in that part B in listening. Yeah, but the part C was a nightmare. I think just only 2 she got there. So, all right, I think it just requires more practice, and you can listen to my tricks on YouTube on my channel and try to implement that and see how it works for you. All right, so the next thing we are going to do now is to now go over to writing because that's the main thing we are going to talk about today. But before we do that, I'll give you guys time to ask 1 or 2 questions before we go to writing, yeah? So if you have any question, anything that you want to ask, please, you can ask it now.
Doctor, okay. Ask.
No, you can go first. Don't worry.
Dr.
Hello,
Nelson.
madam. Okay.
Dr. Nelson, thank you very much. God bless you.
You call me Nelson.
Sorry. Dr. Thompson. Sorry.
No problem.
So, thank you very much. What I want to ask, especially in that reading, in that listening, I'm having difficulty in that part C.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't know how to tackle it.
Okay.
Yeah, that part C is always been my tough part in listening. So that is why even when I'm practicing on my own, I'll notice that the part C will make me not to exceed the mark I'm supposed to get. I might get good mark in part A, part B, but that part C is always been my problem.
Well, I don't know if you watch my YouTube tutorials on how to tackle part C. I don't know because some of you have all those resources on that place, and you find it difficult to actually have time to go through it. If you actually have time to go through, which I might not be able to start discussing all the points one after the other, but the major thing that you should understand is that in those options, especially part C, there will be the correct answer. The one there is one they call distractor. The distractor is the one that looks like what is in the passage. They bring more words in the passage and use it as the answer. Yeah, but it would not be saying negating or saying something that will make it, maybe the answer is supposed to be all the students, but that one will not say some of the students. In that case, it's not the answer. Do you get? I don't know if you understand me, but the real answer will not be paraphrased. Maybe in the passage, the answer in the passage say signs and symptoms of meningitis, but in the options, they will not say maybe fever and headaches are features of meningitis, are clinical features of meningitis. So you see, they are saying the same thing, but they paraphrase it now in the answer. So that one now will be the real answer you get, but the distractor will carry words from the passage and it will be there. So that's what you should understand. It's one of the tricks you should understand in that part C. So you can go to my YouTube channel to read more in details and understand more. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Thompson, thank you. What I want to ask is that with listening on our exam day, will it be very clear?
Yes, it will be very crystal clear. If you cannot hear very well, if your this thing is not working very well, you let them know.
All right. Then I want to ask, I don't know if you do listen to all these YouTube listening. Is it like the same thing with that YouTube listening, or exactly like, I think exactly like Jashan, right?
I think Deshan is more, to me, it's more accurate. So those YouTube, I'm not really, I don't really know how it's structured very well. But the Deshan is more accurate. There is used to be this,
IRS.
IRS is more difficult than the exam.
Yes, yes, that's what I want to make sure. No.
Yeah.
Then listening is 35 minutes all in total, right?
It's what?
Okay, listening is 35 minutes.
Well, approximately. You don't even need to bother yourself. It will just start and continue to the end.
I want to compare, but it should be very clear. That's just what I want to know. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it will be very clear. It will be very clear. Okay. Any other question?
No.
All right, that's fine. So before we'll take like a 5-minute recess and then come back again for the writing review. Yeah. So I'll post the link again.